Well, good morning, everyone. This is the day the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing and glad in it. Praise God. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another great broadcast day where Jesus Christ is Lord. And we are looking at some great things today. I tell you, on a daily basis, I look forward to some good things that God is wanting, desiring to do in your lives, on how we can continue to build up individuals. Really going from sin to righteousness, from sickness to health, and from poverty to wealth. Praise God! Because one thing I've learned in 45 years of being in ministry and in business is that God is concerned about your life, and He wants to take your dreams that He has put in your heart and see to it that they manifest. And so that's why we're here today. We're talking about next level living with myself and my wife. And we have a very special guest today with us, someone again who is on this path we talk about multi-million dollar ministry, multi-million dollar business, I like discovering young men, young women who are on that path, who have made the choice to say, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to see God do some great things. And so we have today a young man who happened to be my baby brother. He may be my brother. And but he right now, we're talking about the theme today is called paying the price. We're talking about I've watched him from a little baby to a young man to an adult to actually, having a great career. And all of a sudden, God dropped a vision in his heart, and he's running with it on his way to multi-million dollar status. And he has some things that he's done, some path he's in his life. And I think it'd be very important to many of you that are looking for that path. That's all right. Give me a path. I have a dream myself, and I need a path too. And I want to interview. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome today my brother Ronnie Craig. Welcome, Ronnie.
Hey, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You mentioned that. I remember when I'll share a little bit of a story as a background. I remember when I was 9 years old, my mother was 43. And at that time, she passed away from diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. We call those the three amigos that kind of take our family members out.
Yes.
And because of that passing away at an early age, I ended up going into the profession of nursing.
Right.
So in my early 20s, I became a nurse. So when people were at their worst in their life, I ended up being at my best.
Okay.
In the emergency room, we take care of like I said, high blood pressure, diabetes, anything bad that was happening. I would tend to be at my best for them. Now, the crazy part of that is being caught up in my profession. I remember being about 39 years old, 4 years from the age that my mother had passed away, and I started having, man, I tell people, I say it jokingly, but seriously, I says, one of the challenges about being a registered nurse in the emergency room is, or just a nurse in general, you're wearing these scrubs, and these scrubs, man, they
Yes.
cover everything, everything up until your day's off. And I was good at taking care of people, but I wasn't
Okay.
taking care of myself.
Okay.
My weight had gotten up to about 243 pounds. I'm only
Oh my.
5'9", so that wasn't much of a stretch. You know what I mean? And I started having a lot of the same symptoms that a lot of the clients in the hospital I was taking care of. So I knew I needed to make some changes. So I see that'd be the first thing for me. I needed to make a change.
Okay.
So I got involved with a coach, just like I know you were a coach to many. You're a coach to a lot of pastors, a coach to entrepreneurs and those types of things. I knew in order for me to move up in life or get the results that I wanted, I needed to get a coach. So I believe everybody deserved to have a coach in life
Right.
to help get the results. Got a coach, and they gave me a plan. They gave me some principles that in order for you to get healthy, they said, Ron, I know you're working as a nurse, but you're not following the guidelines that you're telling everybody else. So that was a gut check for me, gut and a mental check. I had to, I'm teaching principles, but I'm not following those principles. So
yes,
I got on a nutrition plan. Average person lose about a pound a week in what I was doing. And I was able to, now I'm just, as of yesterday, I went from 243, this is years back, to now I'm at 186 pounds.
Oh, praise God.
Yes. I feel better now at 51 than I did at 39 when I first got started.
So now how did that run? Because like I said, you was a registered nurse. You was an RN, right? Registered nurse.
Yes.
Working in the hospital. And all of a sudden once you got on this plan and and it caused you to make a dramatic change. So much so that you literally changed, I can use the word careers.
Okay.
To be able to help people full time doing that. And then once you got involved in that, then you got into the ability that through that helping other people, that now you're
Right.
on a path for multi-million dollars. So what was it that actually, as you mentioned about your mom, in those
Mhm.
areas, which caused you to begin to think more about your health and things like that? What was it that
Right.
actually caused you to actually make the total transition, from
Mhm.
nursing, full time, to really going into your own health business? What was it that triggered your mind to make that type of a change?
Well, there's a couple things. One, I would say the first was I have a friend of mine that says this all the time. She says, "You don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good,"
Okay.
is one. And once you change one thing, I think when I changed my eating, I really thought back, like I felt good. So I was like,
Okay.
wow, I feel amazing. This is the reason I went into the profession of nursing, because I wanted people to feel as good as I'm feeling. I want them to feel better.
Yes. Hmm.
And then my present practice, I mean, you'd see people in the hospital and they have somebody comes in, they broke an arm, and they feel better because you help them, support them with the medical procedures, the cast, and all that other stuff like that, the ice and the pain medication. They felt better. But when somebody would come in with a disease process that would be like, some chronic illness that's not going to necessarily get healed, but that's going to get treated, and that
Yeah.
over a while got to be depressing. I was like, I'm in this making some money, but I'm not necessarily making an impact. So I
Okay.
signed up for this. I didn't realize it till 17 years later. I signed up for nursing to make an impact. I was making an income, but not an impact.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So you want to make an impact.
I wanted to make an impact. And once I started feeling good, I was like, wow, this may be the solution. What if our community could be a little healthier and
Hmm.
happy, feel a little bit better? I was like,
Hmm.
this is kind of like the secret sauce. So, my wife and I, we put together a plan. We got a coach in business. And so, advise you, if you're out there and you're definitely going to want to start a business, definitely get a coach, somebody that can guide you through the steps. And then you can kind of lean on when you have struggles, because you definitely will have struggles within any type of business that you do. So they set me up a plan. And then from there, I says, okay, we didn't know anything about business. We didn't know anything about sales. We didn't know anything about marketing
Right.
at all, but our hearts were following our passion. So that would be the first thing. I found out that I could feel better, and then I could also help people feel better. And that was all I had at that time.
Okay. So now you're convinced of health, and you're
Yep.
feeling better.
Yep.
And now you're saying, I want to help more people. Is this what caused you, to want to now making this transition? You're feeling better, but then what made you want to do it as a business?
Well, as a business, I think one was my passion, and so I felt good, and then now I got a purpose. I want people to feel better. Now you got to find a vehicle that will help you get to that destination. So I would say one is that a lot of times we start businesses, we think we need more money, and
Right.
it's not
Right.
necessarily that we need more money. I heard a guy say it this way: you don't need more money, you need more people. So
Okay.
how could I find a way to get in front of more people, sharing the testimony that I had, and then show them how, as a coach myself, I could help guide them through the process so they can get their results. So I had to find ways in order to get in front of more people.
So all right. So, but then as far as the actual business side of it, when you
Mhm.
get into the business, okay, now you're helping more people and things like that,
Yes, sir.
in those areas. But from point one, I started my business. What was it that made you literally get started? That in business. I mean, the health part
Mhm.
and things like that. But
Okay.
but what triggered in your mind?
Mhm.
I want to do this full time as a business now. What triggered in your mind to say that?
Well, I believe that people start a business out of either inspiration or
Okay.
desperation.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
You may be inspired by somebody you see, you follow, or you're desperate and you got to make something happen.
Okay.
For me, we were transitioning. Like I said, I was 39 years old at the time,
Okay.
243 pounds. My wife was pregnant, having a baby. So I got on my nutrition plan. Then um, after she had our most recent baby, who's now 13, she was like, okay, I want to get my body back in shape. So that was okay. Now I'm thinking about health. Now she's thinking about health, and we're on maternity leave. And on maternity leave, you see more things. I think when sometimes you got to step outside of like your 8 to 5, your 9 to 5,
Okay.
that mundane routine, and maybe on vacation. I think people see opportunities on that when they're breaking away from what they do every day. So
Okay.
we were on maternity leave, and we saw this place that we would go to that offered health and wellness, and we
Okay.
was like, why don't we open up something like this?
Okay.
So number one, we got an agreement. We both had goals that we needed to meet, and then we found a vehicle through opening up a nutrition spot.
Okay. Good. So then, all right. Now, once you open it up,
Mhm.
uh, what was the challenge of actually taking that step to we're now in business? What was the challenge of you of actually making that step that now we're in business? How we're
Mhm.
going to build this thing? What was the first step you took to getting it built?
Well, for us, we thought business was a brick and mortar because
Okay.
this is prior to Facebook, prior to online, and all that other stuff like that. So we opened up the business. We got the lease for the facility, and then we got the sign that we need to put on the building. We did all the whole build out, and then but one thing we didn't think about was being in business is like a lot of people say you don't have a business problem, you have a marketing problem. We didn't understand.
Okay.
We didn't know marketing.
Okay.
That would be the first challenge. How can I get the message of the service that we provide out to the masses? That would
Okay.
be the
Good.
first biggest challenge.
All right. Good. And so, how did you? So, what did you start doing to make that happen? Now you're in business. You done paid the money to get started. You got
Mhm.
your doors open. Okay. So
Yeah.
what did you do to start learning how to do the marketing and things like that? How did you end up doing that?
Okay. So what we did from there was, okay, what is going on in the community during the day? So a
Okay.
lot of times people get together. There's like your chamber of commerce is one thing that's always having some type of events, business networking groups, those things like that.
Hmm.
Uh, Walking into, we would do in services. We would go into businesses and we'd let them know a little bit about what we did, build that rapport. So build a relationship rapport with people, and then invite them back to our location to try us out.
Okay. All right. And was it a challenge getting that started? What were some of the
Oh
challenges
man.
you had in getting that started?
I think the coach and mentor that we had was not in the same city as us. It was a phone
Okay.
call away, but that's the challenge. So that's why I said I believe everybody needs to have a coach in life, some type of mentor, somebody that
Okay.
can help you through those processes and lay out a structure. Like I would say either a 30, a 60, or a 90-day plan. And that's what we ended up getting into. We created a plan that says, okay, every day we're going to have to find 2 events that are happening in our community. And then
Okay.
we go to those events, and then our goal is to build make appointments with 2 people, and so we can put them on our calendar because we believe that in our business, it's like our calendar. I've got my planner right here. I said, if your calendar is blank, so is your bank, man.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
definitely have to have some type of appointments.
Good.
So
Good.
we started mapping out our calendar. And then from those appointments, I think people, when they get into business, they see things just one way. And I would say normally when you get into business, we look to have a customer, right? Because that customer is going to help you. You're going to provide a service or a product for them, and then they can help you pay your bills or help you get
Okay.
going. They told us that all businesses are nonprofit, even though they're not in that segment, until they actually make a profit. But so customer is the first thing that people look at. What my wife is very brilliant. She says, okay, don't stop at a customer. Number 2 is going to be who can, if the person may not be a customer of yours, but what if they could be a referral partner? And a
Okay.
referral
Okay.
partner is somebody who's like, hey, you might not be along the, might not be on my product, my service, but at the same time, you can tell people about me because I can be of service to you.
Okay.
And then
Good.
the third one is going to be called a resource. So that's what we went out. And a resource is someone like, for example, later on in life, we moved into Houston, Texas, and we didn't have a building to operate out of like we originally did when we opened. Our resource is friends that we met that have buildings that would allow us time in their space so we could host different events.
Okay.
So I think a lot of us stop at customer first initially, and or we look for a referral partner, but we never go as far as resources. And once since we've been in business for over 12 years now, we've made tons of friends, and we now have tons of resources. So it's unlimited.
Excellent. So now when you left Arizona, moved to Houston, Texas,
Mhm,
not really knowing anyone. So
mhm.
you started out really as far as physically, nothing, zero.
Correct.
So then you
Yes.
began to do these things to, you someone let you use that building. You began to do some things in those areas. So what I would like to do now is this. Now you're in Houston now, and I know you got a lot of things going on now. in the last 6 years, I mean, how many years you been in Houston now?
6.
And in 6 years, going to Houston from Arizona, not knowing anybody, operating what you're saying right now in those areas, how many locations do you have now in Houston?
Okay. So our goal was, our vision, we had 2 visions when we came to Houston, is number one, there's 7 million people in Houston. We originally I want 7 million people to know my name. That
Okay.
was one thing I had as a philosophy. And the second one was, we want to open up 20 locations. We want to
Okay.
open 20 locations in the first 2 years. So a big vision that was bigger than us. Didn't know how it was going to happen, but that was our belief system and what we wanted. Now, so it took us 1 year to get our first location open, city permits, those types of things. The demographics is a lot different than when we came from. But we kept working with that system I was telling you about, making those appointments, putting names on the calendar. It took us 1 year to get our doors open. But in the interim of doing so, we were building those relationships with, the city, with different business owners and everyone else who was of influence. And then we worked hard and then pandemic hit. But even through the pandemic, we opened up a year and a half ago. We opened up location number 2 in 2021. September 2021, November 2021, we opened up location number 3. And then April of 2022, location number 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then August of 2022, location number 5. And then just most recently, location number 6. We have 6 locations now.
So I think you just said something right there, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, I mean, I was in business myself, in the hair business for a lot of years, for 20 years, been in ministry for 45 years.
Yeah.
You said something I think is very important. You didn't just open your door and put a sign that said open and hope somebody came in.
Correct.
You have to build relationships. You have to go to different places and things like that. I want you to explain, because some people, they think that opening a business, I put my card out there, you know what I mean? And I put a little advertising on Facebook and boom, it's going to happen. But you have to actually go out there and work and get relationships and get people. Is that right? Tell about that, because some people don't understand that even if they're church, they're pastor, they just, well, I'm going to come to my church on Sunday morning and folks going to show up and nobody shows up.
Right.
Or if I go to my business, I'm going to put a sign, I'm open, nobody shows up. But what you're saying, you didn't just sit back there and put a sign on the door. Okay, go through that one process again, because I think you just said something that was really powerful to someone that's want to start a business or a pastor that's want to get his church growing and wonder why it's not growing. Go through that step again, what you did in these 6 years to get this thing going. Go those steps again, Ron.
So I think here's the challenge: is we look at things unilaterally. You open up a business, a lot of times we don't count the cost. Like I know you've heard this said, you said this times and times, you don't count the cost and you're going to be left just with the foundation. But what we did is we would go to the businesses. Now, this is the key. It's like, let's say I go to a business networking event, for example. I go to a business networking event, and the person that I meet at the business networking event is a plumber. And he asked me a few questions. So the process I go through with questions like, okay, Mr. Plumber says, tell me what you do. And then he says, oh, I do this. And I'm like, okay, how long you been doing this? What inspired you to become a plumber? Oh, it's my family's business. And I go through getting to know this person. And then he asks, what do you do? And I tell him briefly about what I do. And I says, hey, we should chat more. Let's get together. So I set him on the calendar. We set up an appointment, usually a day or two ahead. And then now at that appointment, I'm talking to this guy. Now, this is, I think, the biggest learning point for people that are going into business. As I sit with that plumber, I'm like, Mr. Plumber guy, I said, can you tell me a little bit more about your business? I like focusing on, new installs, or I do repairs or whatever it is. I get to know this guy.
Wonderful.
And I says, okay, who's going to be a good referral partner? Who normally do you do business with? And he'll tell me all the different people, like if you're looking for a new install or you're doing a renovation, and I write all this stuff down. And at the end of the conversation, he says, Ronnie, I never got to know much about your business. I said, well, my purpose for today was not to make that sale. Remember that customer portion that I think a lot of us caught up in. And I want to become a resource for him.
Okay.
Now, what happens is, then I'm going to look at my book of business and my calendar, and I'm going to find out, who do I know that's looking for a bathroom renovation? Things got clogged, or on one of the there's chat groups for your community. So if you're out of Vegas, there's a Vegas chat group, right? I may browse the chat group and I see somebody posted, hey, who's a good plumber? Well, I'm going to tag my guy in this. Now I know you live by like my living is based on my giving. So if I can give this guy 2 to 3 referrals for his plumbing
Wonderful.
business, what's going to happen when he talks to anybody in the community
Hmm.
and he hears something about nutrition?
Okay.
He never tried anything. I may never made a meal plan for him, any of those things. But Ronnie is definitely the go-to guy for what you need.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And that's what, and see, I think you just hit something real strong there on why a lot of businesses don't fail, why a lot of ministries fail. Relationships, building relationships, finding how you can help someone else, and
Right.
believing for the reciprocal to happen in your life. I mean,
Right.
that's so powerful right there because, again, I know pastors are dealing with this, businesses are dealing with this, and they understand that relationships, helping other
Right.
people. I mean, that's such a powerful thing right there. And I think a lot that lesson right there is so important because you build as a result of doing that principle. You God has blessed you to build six and six locations and increasing. You follow
Yes.
me all the way to what you said 20, was it 20?
2020 is our goal. Yes.
Okay, good, and that's what I'm saying there. So I know now. We've been focusing on. We were in Houston after with you a few weeks ago, and we went to this $1 million conference there. And I know that
Okay.
that's your passion also to help a lot of
Right.
people. But the financial goal, I think you said, is $2 million to be $2 million. What is your financial goals now in those areas?
Oh yeah, that would definitely be my desire. So I have a certain amount of money that I'd like to make it in the 1 year, and then we went to a vision board class a little while back, and it was like
Okay.
on the you set things up, and the instructor of the class, he just told us, he's like, okay, he's like, I want you to write down things that you want, and I've learned from you and learned from other people. It's like, okay, my version of thinking comes along the lines of like my environment, the way
Yeah.
we were taught as kids, what was acceptable, all these other things like this. And he's like, I don't want you to get stuck there. I want you to, what is like correct thinking, or open that mind up a little bit. And it's like, what would you like? So we had to like mental dump on paper
Okay.
what you wanted, no matter what, if cost wasn't an issue and all these other things like this. So once we did that, it was very strict. He's like, okay, when would you like those things to happen? I want you to write next to one of the things that you said, like let's say you want a basic car, right?
Hmm.
I want a basic car. I want a basic house or something like that. And I'm just saying that for the sake of claims on this call. But you want these things. Now, do you want that within 1 year, 3 year, 5 year? And then after we mapped that out, then I had an area of like, okay, what I would like for my kids to accomplish
Okay.
financially within the next year, what I would like for us to experience, maybe a vacation, or something like that in the next year, and then a certain house, we want to get into a new house, and that's on my. So now I have it even on my phone, because I know you were telling us about not only you have to believe something to happen, but you have to, you got to write it down. You got to have a
Yeah.
picture. You have to see it every single day. So those
Yes.
are the things so I have that listed, and I'm looking at that every single day. So now I have a 3 year plan, a 1 year, 3, and a 5 year plan.
Okay, good. And your 1 year plan is
Yeah. So my 1 year plan, I have it right here. It's like, I want to become a public speaker. And
okay.
I wrote that down, and it's like, okay, what's going to take place in order for me to be a public speaker? I've got a picture of a person public speaking. And then as of February 14, 2023, this morning, I'm doing some public speaking with you. You know what I mean? So these things are
That's it.
coming to pass. We want to buy our second home this year. And
Wonderful.
then we have an income goal that we want to accomplish by this year also.
Good. And so from I heard you say that, and you're on your way
Mhm.
to. You've got a plan in place right now.
Mhm.
Was it 3 years to be at $2 million a year? Is that what was that 3 years?
Yeah. So the way that the guidelines work in order for me to share online is I have to say it like this: with hard work and dedication, the average person that does my type of business will make about $200 spare time a month.
Okay.
But then also along those guidelines, I said, but I'm not the typical and average person, and I have to
Okay.
have a cap on my income. So my income right now is $10,000 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but you're going toward a multi-million-dollar
Correct.
business. Oh, that's correct, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So if I'm right now in my business, if I'm in my business, and
Mhm.
I said, give me some steps. I mean,
Mhm.
practical steps. if I want to
Yeah.
get to a $1 million, just say $1 million business, and
Yep.
I'm in business right now, but I
Okay.
want to get my business up to $1 million, even a multi-million. Just say my first million. What would
Yep.
you say would be some practical steps I could take to
Mhm.
begin to, to release that vision for my $1 million or multi-million dollar business? What would be some practical steps?
So if I was to write something down, I'd write down I'd write down this word is who, not how,
Okay.
because I don't need more money, I need more people. So who do I need to be in communication with, not
Okay.
how. And
Okay.
then I would write an A, which is very simple, where A means where I'm at right now in my business.
Okay.
And then B is where I want to be in my business.
Okay.
And then there's a line or a dash in between.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to make certain that, okay, there's some things that's preventing me or keeping me at A, from
Okay.
A to B. Now, what I want to do is they call it, am I doing high level activity? Or let me say, put it to you this way. I need to come up with 5 income producing activities a day.
Good. Good.
Yep. So there's high level activities, and then there's high value activities and low value activities. Am I
Okay.
doing high value activities, things that will come back, not, will come back with a positive amount of money or something like that? It's going
Okay.
to bring value to me.
Yes.
And am I building those relationships am I building relationships with people who are pulling me? I mean, you told me this before. It's like, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I need to find another room. So I need to be
Yeah.
in an
That's it.
environment of 5
Yeah.
people that make me uncomfortable because, I admire what they're doing.
Okay. Good. Good. Excellent. So get around people like that.
Mhm.
When you admire what you're doing, they're doing some things that you want to be able to do,
Correct.
and they're doing it successfully.
Yes.
It's very important. You got your A where you're at now, your
Mhm.
B where you want to be at, and
Mhm.
then in the middle, the process.
Correct.
All right. So once I get the process in place, okay,
Mhm.
now I've got to actually begin to identify those things that I'm doing, 5 income producing areas that
Mhm.
have the potential of producing at that
Correct.
level. Because I think
Yes.
that, I think I did it one time, that multi-million dollar, $1 million hour is like a $480 an hour. You
Right.
follow me? That I got to begin
Right.
to think like that, so I can't waste my time on things that does not have the potential eventually to get me to that point. You know
Correct.
what I mean? I think it's like $19,000 a month. Is what
Mhm.
in North. It's a week. That's a week. And I think it's $83,000 a month that I got to do to get to $1 million, whatever it is. I did some math on it one time, so I got to begin to identify some things. Am I doing
Mhm.
some things that have the potential of getting there? May not
Mhm.
be there right now, but have the potential of doing there. Otherwise, I could be putting I could be putting activity into things that gonna keep me at the A.
Right.
You'll
Right.
follow me. So I gotta get things that'll help me to move from the A to the B, and that'll be a part of the
Yep.
process I'm gonna have and put in place to get there. Is that right?
They Yes, sir. They say
Go ahead.
the average person works. We work in our business, right? Your
Yes.
business may be ministry, mine may be nutrition, somebody else's may be that plumber. They say we tend to work in our business multiple hours, but
Yeah.
we only work on our business. The average business owner works on their business only 1 hour a month.
Right. I
So
agree.
they say if you can work, mine is 9 to 11, but if you can work on your business on it for 2 hours a day,
Yeah.
you imagine how much you could multiply that type of business.
You got it. You got it. Yes. And identifying those areas in your business that's worth you spending that 2 hours on. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. So, because I see that so much. I see people sometimes they're like the heads of their business or whatever there, and they're spending
Mhm.
time on things that they could maybe get someone else to do that for $10 an hour, $15 an hour. You follow me? So they're putting
Right,
that
right.
time into the wrong, that 2 hour working on their business. They're putting it in things
Mhm.
that someone else could do. So now I'm not working on the things that have the potential to do those things. I got to learn to delegate some things. I
Right.
I use it this way, and I think you may do a little differently, but I always use this when I'm thinking about my future. I got a 4 step
Mhm.
process that I have. I guess it might be a 5 step process. Number one, I
Okay.
evaluate. I evaluate things based upon the end result that I want to accomplish. You know what I mean? And I put,
Okay.
this right here in evaluation, this race to the 10 and things like that. And
Yes.
then the next thing I do, I prioritize. I prioritize my life based upon that evaluation, based upon the value that that thing holds to my ultimate goal. Now I'm going to prioritize things
Okay.
accordingly. And number three, I organize my
Okay.
life. I organize my year, my month, my week, my day,
Mm.
and my hours based upon that new set of priorities I have. Then number
Okay.
four is I will delegate things that need to be done, but I don't have to do it myself anymore because it's not qualified
Right.
for me at my level that I need to have. And then number five is I eliminate everything that is not
Mm.
make that happen, so that way I can continue to
Okay.
dump, in those areas. And I go
Yep.
through that 5-step process always because sometimes it's people, places, and things I need to dump that don't. When I do it, I do a real evaluation based upon my goal I want to
Right.
accomplish. Then I set priorities based on that. Then I organize my time based on
Okay.
that. Then I delegate things that
Okay.
need to get done, but I know how to do it myself, and I can do it to
Right.
others. And then I eliminate everything else, and that kind of keeps you sharp. What do you think about that, Ron?
I can. I love it. I love it. It's just because you tested. I'm just listening to you. It's like back in the day. I thought, like I heard. I was at a training you had or something like that. They said a guy said, "Get all you can all you get, sit on the
Yeah,
can, and poison the rest." That's a lot of the mentalities from
yeah,
back in the past, and those things are ingrained. So if you get, you get $100, like, okay, I don't want to invest this. So it's just old stinking thinking that I
yeah,
have. I listened to what you shared just now. It's like, okay, obviously what I'm doing over here isn't working. Okay, so now what can I
yeah,
eliminate? I love your process. No, thank you for that.
yeah. Good. Well, Ron, I know you're a very busy man.
Yeah.
And I thank you so much for giving me this time with you. I'm glad that this public speak was on your agenda, and
Yeah.
so, amen. And one time I'm gonna get you because I'm gonna have these seminars every month. One time
Yep.
I'll get you to come to Arizona and actually physically be here to be one of my speakers. It'd be great to it'd be great to have you here with us.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much for today also.
Yes, it's been a great blessing, and tell your beautiful wife I said hello, and and your beautiful children. It was great. It was great being with y'all this past couple weeks ago, and all the
Yep.
people that you had with you. I mean, your friends that were there. We enjoyed ourselves. But Ronnie, in this last 1 minute, give the people some final words.
Oh,
Business owners or pastors, whatever they're, give them some final words. Get started today
right.
and set your goal. Give them some final words on that, Ron.
Okay. All right. All right. So I meet a lot of people that wait until they're uh, 39, 40
Hmm.
years old, or even some people. I heard this from, I can't remember who said it, but he's like, the richest place in on this earth is the graveyard because of those
Yeah.
dreams, desires that were
Hmm.
never fulfilled.
Yes.
I just a part of me, I had a coach of mine tell me one time. He's like, "Hey, Ronnie," I said, "Man, I feel like I'm failing." He's like, "Man, what if you fail your way to the top?"
Yes.
So
Yes.
he said, and then this came from you this morning or before when I chatted with you, we were at the kitchen table. It's like, failing is part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only way you become a failure is if you stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever's in your heart that's not fulfilled, take an action step, take a class. Dr. Craig's got a mentorship program or a curriculum that you can become a part of. Because you're going to need somebody, find a coach. Like I said earlier, part of the day is,
Mm.
I believe everyone deserves to have a coach in life to help them reach next level living.
Okay.
And if you don't do that, we weren't born to just come into this world, exist, and then die and be buried. No, there's greater things within each of us.
Hmm.
And the only way that you can tap into that is to follow somebody who's been there before, maybe build a little bit of confidence,
Hmm.
ask them to coach, mentor, train you, or get part of their curriculum. So that's what I got for you today.
Excellent. Excellent. And Ron, I'm not sure how you can do this, but how
Mhm.
would a person, I mean, because I know you're business nutrition, and we
Mhm.
can't do a whole lot on Facebook like that. But how
Right.
could a person get in touch with you if they want to begin to understand how they can get healthy? you know,
Gotcha.
and be a part of
Gotcha.
your work. How would they do that? Is it maybe you can type something on into the comment, or maybe wife can do it. Well, how could they
Okay.
get in touch with you to get healthy?
So our one of our businesses is called the Nutrition Hub. So we'll drop it in there. We'll drop it in the chat group of
Okay.
nutritionhub101.com. And then there's a little questionnaire section on there. You can let us know kind of what your goals is, what your struggles, challenges that's prevented you from getting ahead in life. And then we can go ahead and reach back out to you, make an appointment, and help you resolve those issues.
Excellent, excellent. And so you'll drop that into the chat, and,
Yes,
and
sir.
and all right, and then they'll have that on there. So that'd be great. So thank you, brother. Appreciate that so much. I'm so very proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I know our dad would be proud of you too. On his behalf and on your mother's behalf,
Yeah.
we're very proud of you. And thank God for the vision that you have, the integrity that you have, the father that you are, and the great businessman that you are, and the husband. Amen.
Yes.
So for you that have been on with us today, it's been great having Ronnie on today. Again, he's going to drop the information in there on how he can be healthy. He was just at 230, and now you're what, 185, Ron?
Yeah, I was 243, and then I'm at 186 this morning. Yes, sir.
186 now, moving in health. And I've watched him
Yep.
do this, so I want to recommend him to you all. And when he dropped that into the chat, contact him and his business and his beautiful wife, and watch and see how God can help you out. Okay. So until we'll be back again tomorrow, myself and my wife. Until then, this has been Apostle Alfred Craig saying, may God's riches and His very best be yours. Have a blessed day. Bye bye now.